Sweeties, how are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim. If this is your first time of coming across this channel, sweetheart, kindly smash that subscribe button, turn your notifications so you are notified each time I upload, and please give this video a thumb up. I appreciate you all so much, and I am saying a very big shout out to every one of you for all the love and support you all shower me here with. I am grateful, and to all my members, shout out to every one of you. I am grateful. So today we'll be talking something very important, and it's about this Jeffrey, who actually came out to say that black people are perpetrating black crimes, like black people are supporting black crimes and not reporting it to the police. That if black people want a better community, a great community, a working community, a community where there will be jobs, a lot of jobs, a lot of great things happening, they should help report black people doing crimes to the cops, so that we can have a better community. And then I am asking, is he working with, is there any research he is working with? Because for him to actually come out that, to say that black people are not supporting crimes and all that. Number one, let me start by saying, I think it just doesn't make any sense that somebody is coming out to say that black people are perpetrating crime. That does not make any sense. Then number two, let's start with the black history. Do black people trust the cops? Black people do not trust the cops. In fact, they do not actually. Why? Because they have proven times without number that they cannot be trusted, especially where black people, like, they cannot be trusted. I have seen videos where cops pull black people over for one or two things, and then it doesn't end well. And then each time I see black people being pulled over, they are already scared and they go into defense mode because they know what could happen. They might make it alive, they may not make it alive. I mean, this is not something new. It is something that I have learned, I have seen, I have watched, and the rest of it. I am just going to roll this clip because the stitches are the most important one. We'll come back to talk about it, and I absolutely want to read all your comments. Let me know what you all think in the comment section. So straight up, let's go do it.
Did you know, according to studies, that white murderers are twice as likely to be found as black murderers? Did you also know that around 50% of murders go unsolved? In 2021, only 51% of homicides were solved, according to FBI statistics analyzed by the Murder Accountability Project. Read the first paragraph. We have given inadequate resources to properly fund local police departments. There are not enough homicide detectives, not enough trained detectives, not enough forensic technicians to go to crime scenes, not enough laboratory capacities. We simply lack the necessary resources to properly investigate major crimes. Even more interesting, the problem is exacerbated when broken down by demographics. A CBS News analyst of the FBI data published last year found that murders of white victims were about 30% more likely to be solved in the cases of Hispanic victims, and about 50% more when victims were black. Then it says there's a growing disconnect in many major cities between police and the community they serve, especially in African American communities. In the aftermath of things like George Floyd, that disconnect causes people not to trust the police, to regard law enforcement to be illegitimate, and to not cooperate with investigations. So in other words, a lot of black people are helping keep black murderers on the streets by not investigating with the police. So if you think about it, we're damaging our own communities in a lot of ways because we're helping keep people that are breaking the law on the streets instead of helping them get locked up. And then high crime does what? Damages businesses, it damages those businesses' profitability, businesses start leaving, businesses start moving, less opportunity for people in those communities as a result of those businesses leaving or closing. In addition to that, when we are not helping with investigations, we are helping perpetuate the problems of us murdering each other. And yeah, that whole argument of defund the police, horrible idea. Again, see the top paragraph, pause to read, I've already said it. So yes, when we don't have the proper funding, we can't hire more people, they don't have the proper equipment, we cannot keep up with everything that is happening, and our citizens are not as safe due to that. So yes, defunding the police, terrible idea. If you want law and order and if you want crimes to be solved. If you like chaos and anarchy, then defund the police. But I think a lot of the people who cry defund the police would be some of the first people to want to call them if something happened to them. So the more police we have, the more crimes are solved, the more crimes are solved, the less murderers and bad people we have on the streets, the less bad people we have on the streets, the less crime is committed, the more businesses can thrive, the more businesses thrive, the more opportunity for people in those communities, the more opportunity to have less crime, because people were able to have more opportunities to make money, which then means less black people getting locked up, which then means less reason for people to cry systemic racism, which then can give people less reasons to hate the system and to hate white people, which then drives less division in the country, which allows us to come together more in the country and everyone to have a better opportunity of living in harmony. Anyway, you get the point. You want law and order, and if you want crimes to be solved. If you like chaos and anarchy, then defund the police. But I think a lot of the people who cry defund the police would be some of the first people to want to call them if something happened to them. So the more police we have, the more crimes are solved, the more crimes are solved, the less murderers and bad people we have on the streets, the less bad people we have on the streets, the less.
So if you go back and watch that entire video, he talks a lot about the murders that go unsolved. And according to statistics, only 51% of homicides were solved in 2021, as opposed to decades ago when it was 70%, and I've even seen it as high as 91% in 1960. And for reference, here is a graph that shows in 1965, we were at 91% of solving rate, as opposed to 2020, we were at 54%. So why the decline? According to Jeff, one of the main reasons why these cases aren't being solved is because of the lack of funding for the police department. But I beg to differ. According to this chart, since 1960, since the dismantling of the Jim Crow laws, we've had a 600% increase in police spending, but you can see the decrease in the violent crime rate and the overall crime rate. So in spite of crime rate dropping, we've had an increase in police spending. Here's another chart showing that the police budget nearly tripled to $115 billion. Here's another chart showing the high increase in law and order, but you can see that it's pretty stagnant. It even went down some for welfare or investing in the community. And according to this one, since 1994, we had a 46% increase in our police budget and a minus 32% in homicide rates. This is all per capita. And again, another chart just showing the increase in police budget. I think we get the point. Here's another chart showing the drop in the murders per capita per 100,000 people in the U.S. We were as high as 10.5 murders per 100,000 people in mid-1970s. And we have seen a spike since COVID. It went up to 7.8, but we're still well below the 10.8. I mean, this chart, you can clearly see the drop in the U.S. murder rate since the dismantling of the Jim Crow laws. So there has definitely been a decrease in murders. And based on sheer numbers, in 1980, we had 23,000 murders. In 2019, we had 16,000. And you can pause to read that chart and just see the difference in the number of murders from the 60s, 70s, and 80s to now. And as you can see, the reason why the number of murders are going unsolved has nothing to do with the amount of money and the resources that the law enforcement has. People are saying defund the police because they'd rather see the money invested in the community, because the cases that the police need to solve, they are not solving. Instead, they're arresting people for stupid things like drug crimes. Look at the number of narcotics arrests since 1960. Look how much it's increased. Look at the number of people we've had incarcerated since 1960. We've seen a 700% increase in our prison population. And it's because prison and arresting people in law enforcement is big business. It has nothing to do with protecting the community that they serve. And the reason why people don't call the cops when things happen is because they do not trust the police have their best interest in mind. This is why you see a lot of street justice. And also in that video, he mentioned the George Floyd case. Imagine being that young man working at that store and calling the cops on somebody for allegedly using a counterfeit bill. And when cops arrive, instead of doing what's best and defusing and de-escalating the situation, they actually make it worse and they kill the person that the cops were called on. Do you think that young man working that store would ever want to call the cops again? And there are countless stories like this all across the country where people are afraid to call the cops because they do not trust our system to do what's best. So when people scream defund the police, it's because they would rather see that money invested into the community. I mean, look how much money was invested into militarizing the police. They don't even solve the crimes that need to be solved. So as you can see, in spite of population growth, the sheer number of murders are down, crime rate is down, funding for the police is up. So what is the problem? Americans have lost trust in the institutions of the United States that were supposed to be created to protect and serve them. Instead, they were created to value profits over people. In America, we treat crime, but we do not treat people. So I ask, how do we create a society that produces less crime?
I am so sick of people not saying nothing, but I'm going to come on here and say many things. Y'all want to sit here and continuously say that black people are criminals, that black people are angry, that black people are ghetto, that black people are not safe to be around, that even black people are different than us. If you feel this way, think about who made them be like this. You sick, evil white people did. You made them fear for their lives. They can't even feel safe on a day-to-day basis. You've made them grow anger because of what you've done to their bloodline, to their families, even to them. What more do you expect them to do? Sit back and allow you guys to control their lives? They already can't feel comfortable and live normal in their daily lives. If they're not getting talked about or shamed, then they're having trouble finding a job just because of their skin color. If not that, then they're being put in jail for something that they didn't do or something that they had to do. And then they are being accused wrongly because the law system is jacked if your skin is a little darker than whites. If not that, then they are being looked at the wrong way. Or if they look at somebody the wrong way, they're getting shot and killed. Anything they say or do is wrong in your eyes. How could people who look so much alike and bleed the same blood as us be hated so much? Just how? You, my racist white freaks, have caused this turmoil in this world. You've caused the division. You've caused the hate. For what? For you to act like you're some type of god? That you are any better than a different skin tone? In my eyes, I love everybody. I see all of us the same because my eyes are colorblind. Because I have the love of God in me. And when you have the love of God in you, there could be no racism in your life. This world is evil, and all the people who are demented are of it. Stop this crap, please, I beg of you. Love one another like God loves us. Choose God. And if you have God in you, you will not have racism in you. You will love everybody. But this mess needs to end. It needs to end quickly because I'm sick of the bull crap. Nobody's different. Black people are the same as us. We are all the same. Stop the bull crap. Stop the racism. Stop hating on people because they're a little darker than you. Stop it. Let me come back on here and say something. We are not all the same. From the beginning, black people didn't have white slaves, which they could have because they did own the land. But Europeans outnumbered them and did them dirty. Black people did not get a thrill out of killing, hanging, torturing, manipulating, and causing white people to have fear. Black people do not hold white people down and beat them with whips, lynch them, burn crosses in their yards, and set their houses on fire. Black people does not discriminate when hiring. I haven't seen any black Karens. If given more opportunities, many businesses and lands would be owned by black people. Black people do not get excited out of holding somebody down where they stop breathing. We aren't all the same in that aspect, but God chose each and every one of us to be his children. He would want us to love one another, to bring down the walls and see with his eyes, because with his eyes, it's all love. And if you want to come on here and comment, then that means that you're coming on here having hatred and you want to comment with hatred. That lets me know that you are the racist. You are the one that's racist. If you have to come on here and comment and say something evil, that means it's speaking to you, like,
So
because you're that
that's
person.
from the video, and thanks the last person that thanks for the message. I hope like you know your fellow they find it well. And let's get into okay the Jeffrey. This is Jeffrey, the black guy, right? So I am gonna start with him, right? He said that black people are perpetrating crimes, or like you know hiding fellow black people that are committing crimes and all that. And I want to ask, is there any, I'm trying to find out if there is any analytics or something that, or a research he did that he is working with that made him say that, right? And he was saying that black people should help the cops to find out, to fish out criminals. Like, so black people are now the criminals, because that is where he is coming from, that black people are criminals. So instead of them hiding criminals, they should report to police and help the police in fighting the whatever that is going on in black community and all that. And I am going to start by saying that I don't know where he's getting his information from, but you all know that black community is the most policed community ever. It is not like the same crime that is happening in black community is not happening in other communities. But because they do not even pay attention to crimes happening in their own community, but it is okay to over police black people, right? I remember I saw a video of a black boy, 14 years old, who actually went out to trash something in the, like, you know, to drop something in the trash. Then he was arrested by the cops. Why? Because he fits the description and all that. You got where I'm coming from. And then I also saw a video where a white lady actually ran the she was supposed to get a fine because she was going over the speed limit, right? And the cop said, okay, I am gonna pardon you if you run me. And then they started racing, just the white lady ran him, and he did not give her the fine, right? Fine. I have seen a video of a black man who the cops unleashed the dog on him. He was handcuffed. He was not posing any threat or something, because they already, like, you know, he had brought him down from his truck and handcuffed him. He was not a threat because he was already handcuffed, but they still unleashed dog on him, right? I mean, there are so many that I can, okay, the two black men who they went into the cops went into their house and assaulted them with dildo and the rest of it, and then ended up shooting them in the mouth and all that. There are so many cases I can count and count and count. Number one is that black people do not even trust the cops, because they have proven times without number that they cannot be trusted, especially where black people are. And a black person that knows the history of black people and cops, is actually out here telling black people to report black crimes. Like, so people should start with, I don't know, but I find it funny. People should start with black people. Okay, it is not your duty to wake up in the morning and go around the neighborhood and, like, you know, if you see some boys that are probably at the park or something talking, call the cops on them and tell the cops that they are sitting at the park and talking, so that the cops can arrest them and say that they were probably doing drugs and all that. Is that what you want? Because I really don't understand where this is coming from. But then who am I to talk? This is where I'm just going to draw the curtain. And you see, Jeffrey, Uncle Rook, All right, I'm going to draw the curtain here. See you all in my next video. Bye for now.